Yo, what's up? It's your boy Anthony Simmons from Higher Heights, and you already know the vibe. Tonight, I want to talk to y'all about a very serious topic that we deal with all across the board here, all across the world. People are struggling with anxiety. People are struggling with depression, and I more want to deal with on tonight the depression side. Because especially in the black community, but we're going to be dealing with this on a grand scale, dealing with everybody who deal with depression. And if you know anybody struggling with depression right now, if you can recognize the signs and symptoms, give them a call, check in on them. You can never have too much support when you're going through depression. I'm also going to be posting the depression hotline up on here so that people can get some help if they need it. And never be afraid to reach out to somebody in that condition, and never think that everybody is okay. I don't care how strong people are, they can be dealing with these issues. But with no further ado, before we get into this video, I need you to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. You already know what the vibes. I want you to join the family, and I'm on my way to 1,000 subscribers. And after that, we climbing to 2. Don't play with me. Get them subs up. All right, so when we go to talking about depression, man, a lot of people don't like to tackle that subject because the D word is kind of like taboo. Like, people really still don't even want to talk about it, even though we live in a culture where mental health is actually talked about way more than it was about 10, 15 years ago. And it's more culturally acceptable to admit that you actually going through something. By the way, I know y'all noticed the new look. I'm not going through a midlife crisis or nothing like that. I just wanted to change up the look, though. I know y'all see the new look. But anyway, it's more culturally acceptable to talk about depression in the climate that we're in now, and you're not frowned upon. And I know when I was growing up, a lot of people were afraid to talk about it, but we're able to talk about it now. So I remember the stigma that was on depression when I was growing up. I used to hear about people being depressed, and I couldn't understand it. And maybe it's because I hadn't went through enough. I haven't suffered enough in life yet to understand what depression was. But I do remember the first, and it was the last time I was depressed, but the first time I ever became depressed. I remember the struggle that I went through. But I remember when people used to come up to me and say that they were depressed, and I'd be like, oh man, just shake it off. Man, get over it, man. How can you be depressed? You got so much to live for. You know, the old cliche things to say. But I'm going to tell you why that's probably one of the worst things you can say to a person when they're depressed. Oh, just get over it, or yeah, it'll be okay. You know, those kind of things are probably like some of the worst things that you can say. Some of the best things that you can do for a person that is depressed, we're going to discuss some of those things throughout here too. But listen, yeah, the first time that I got depressed in life, I didn't think it was a real thing. I thought people were just making up stuff. But what you don't realize is depression, it creeps up on you. It really creeps up on you. If you knew depression was coming, then you would probably stop it in its tracks. But depression actually is something that creeps up on you. I remember about 5 or 6 years ago when I went through depression, I found myself I really didn't know I was depressed, but I remember not having energy, not just having a zest for life or a passion for life, not getting up with a sense of purpose. You know, I'm an energetic person, and I really don't need a lot of sleep to make things happen or go, but I found myself in this lull to where I just didn't have that get up and go or that spunk about myself. I could sleep 8 hours, get up and go back to sleep. I found myself wanting to be in the darkest room in the house. The room that I was in, I wanted it to be dark as possible. If you're out there and you understand what I'm saying, hashtag Higher Heights in the comments and let me know if you've been through something like this. But I found myself just sleeping and laying down on a couch like for hours on end, and it was really like nothing that I had motivation to do. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to be around people. Although when I was around people, that was the only time that my mind kind of wasn't in that state because I was around people. But when I got back alone, it's like that ton of bricks fell on me again. So I still didn't realize I was depressed, but it was like weeks and weeks, and the weeks turned into a month. And like I said, I grew up with that stigma that, you know, black people, we don't talk about our problems. We don't talk about our problems. You keep that to yourself. I don't know if that's a thing that's been on us or a mental condition that we've been trained because our people have been through so much that it's just like, look, get over it, bro. But people would say stuff like that. Oh man, come on, it'll be all right. But if this is what I want to tell y'all about the point earlier. If a person who is depressed could just get over it, they would. They can't get over it. There's something bothering them that they don't know how to convey. They don't even know how this came upon them. I don't even know what caused me to be depressed. But a very good leader of mine at the time, who was my father and who was my apostle, he helped me a lot talking about God. And I didn't say he was just there the whole time, but he talked to me about God. And if it wasn't for God, y'all, let me tell y'all this. The reason I know God is real, because if it wasn't for God, I couldn't have came up out of that funk. I couldn't have came up out of the depression. God, I had to literally talk to God. And if you don't have a relationship with God, I encourage you to do that. Go ahead and hit the like button, by the way. Smash the subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification bell. But depression is very real. Depression is very real. I also had a friend who struggles to this day with depression. His theory on depression that he was told by doctors is that once you deal with depression and once you struggle with depression, you really never defeat depression. You know, it can bounce back on you at any time. And I don't want to refute that. But I'm not going to claim that, but I'm not going to refute that, because just like similar to when I said I didn't believe in depression, period, in the first place, I don't want to argue against how somebody else feels, because I do feel like if it could creep up on you once, it could creep up on you again. This is why I stay meditating on God and thinking about my relationship with God. But he goes in and out of points of depression in his life, and I can tell just as good when he's going through it, because he literally turns off his phone and isolates himself. And that's when you got to go visit somebody, man. That's when you got to go check on somebody and they need support, man. And we think people are strong because they portray this image or they got a smile on their face, man. I'm going to tell y'all this, man. People can be depressed and still functioning and still have a smile on their face. Don't let it fool you. You know what I'm saying? You got to know who you're laboring amongst. And the Bible talks about that. He talks about know those that labor among you. And a lot of people didn't know I was depressed. They didn't recognize those signs. And I don't blame them, but I really highly encourage people to know your brothers and sisters, know your mom and father, your nieces and nephew, know your co-workers and your friends. Don't just bypass these signs, because I believe depression opens up that door for people wanting to end it all. And suicide is another thing. But anxiety. Let's talk about anxiety for a second, man. I did not know what anxiety was. Of course, you know, as a young person growing up, you don't have no stress. You know, the average person doesn't deal with a lot of stress, you know, coming up as a youngster. You know what I'm saying? So anxiety is another big one. I remember my first panic attack. Thought I was having a heart attack. I didn't know what it was, but it's very real, man. And it was a point in my life where I couldn't control when I was getting ready to have one of these anxiety attacks. I could literally be driving down a road and all of a sudden it would feel like I couldn't breathe. But I learned control breathing. I learned how to distract my mind, so to speak, or put my mind on something else, because it literally took that for me to get over those panic attacks. And even now, sometimes I wonder, will they creep back up sometimes, because it was like 2 years of my life I would have these panic attacks on and off, you know what I'm saying, like at random times. And literally I would feel like I was getting ready to die, and I would usually call like 911 and things like that, thinking that I'm getting ready to die. But it was all due to the state that my mind was in. This is why, if you haven't checked out my video that's on in my YouTube as well, dealing with the mind, the soul, and the spirit. This is why those are important. We talk about mental health, which is dealing with your mind, but spiritual and soul is important as well, because all these things it takes to be healthy in order to have a holistic, healthy life. You understand what I'm saying? It takes all these things working together to enjoy life the way that it's being meant to enjoy. Neither of these things can coexist and one of them be rotten and you be able to have a healthy lifestyle, because they all work together. It's similar to a car. Once one thing starts going wrong on a car, you can bet other things are going to be affected by that thing that started off at first. So it's better to just start working on those things. Mental health. You got to guard what you let go into your mind. You got to guard the filth and the trash that goes in his mind, because our minds are like computers. And you can be subconsciously stressing about something, even though you're not literally thinking that you're stressing. You could be stressing about something that you've suppressed. And when you don't deal with these things, they manifest themselves in ways through the physical. They will eventually manifest themselves through your physical. Whatever in a man's heart will come out eventually. So we have to tackle these issues, and don't be afraid. If you think you're struggling with depression today, talk to somebody. One of the biggest helps is to be able to vent, to be able to talk, to be able to express and let those emotions and feelings out. I can't stress that enough. One of the biggest things, don't ever feel like you're alone, because there are people out there who have went through it and are going through it now and are living every day trying to get through it. So depression is a serious issue, y'all. Mental health, spiritual health. Like I said, man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and keep this conversation going, because I think the more that we have a healthy conversation about depression and mental illness, then we can help other people. That's the goal. The goal ain't just to be right ourselves on this earth, but I believe that we're on this journey that every time we have an experience or have a testimony or get knowledge, it's to help other people. So if you know somebody that may be suffering with these and you be looking for these, man, care for somebody else. I like my new look, man. I got to get a little tan up here, though, because I'm used to having hair up there. It's a little light-skinned, but I like my little LL Cool J, you know, Michael Jordan's, Charles Barkley type look right now, Steve Harvey type look right now. And then let me know what y'all think about the bald head, man. I might rock this for a second. But anyway, with no further ado, we're going to end this video right there, man. But mental health, depression, help heal. Let's help be a part of the healing. Let's not be selfish, and let's be discerning, and let's look for these signs, man. Y'all be blessed.